Hello, everyone, and welcome to A New Direction. My name is Jay Izzo, and oh, man, as always, great guest, great book, another great show. I have so many entrepreneurs and business owners that listen to the show. Thank you. By the way, watching us on DBTV or listening to us on radio coast to coast or downloading the podcast. Thank you for doing that. I know you had a lot of choices. You chose us. I say that every week. Richard Walsh, U.S. Marine, black belt, championship boxer, wrote this book, Escape the Owner Prison. Now, as an entrepreneur myself, and knowing that many of you are owners, how many of you feel imprisoned to your job? Raise your hands. I see you. Okay. Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I see you over there. Yeah, good. And yeah, okay, good. Okay, all right. So there's quite a few of you who feel, whose fault is that? Yeah. If you have not answered yourself, okay, there's your problem, right? Because I want to just tell you, the crux of this book is what Richard found out in his story, which we will get to, is Richard found out that the person that he really had to take a hard look at when it came to being in his own prison was himself. That's not easy because we have a tendency to blame all the fires that we got to put out. Well, I can't leave my job. I can't leave. You don't understand, Jay. I've got people I've got to do. My people. Well, who's responsible for that? Yeah, okay. So here's the deal. We're going to talk about getting out of your owner prison, and in 3 levels, by the way. He's got 3 levels here that we're going to talk about. And we're going to get to him in just a second. But let's do what we do every week, right? We're 4-part people. We're physical, mental, emotional, spiritual people. And the fact of the matter is, if we are not growing in each and every one of these areas on a regular daily basis, we're dying because we do not stay static. And so what we do on the show, if you're new to us, watching us or wherever, we have you evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in each one of these areas. 1 being, can't get any worse. 10 being, can't get any better. 5 being average. So for instance, in the physical area, how would you evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to eating right, getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, drinking enough water, making sure that you're taking care of your body? Scale of 1 to 10, what would it be? Now, if the number is a low number, okay, I don't want you to be alarmed and say, okay, I'm a failure. No, it's a starting point. Okay, if it's a 2, we start from 2 and we work our way up. All right, so let's not get caught up into no. Okay, if you're 2, let's just get to a 2.5. Okay, let's get to a 2.5. Maybe take the bag of chips that you're eating right now and stop it. Right? Or the fast food that you have in that bag as you're driving down the road, why don't you just close up the bag and stick to the coffee and maybe find something a little healthier on your way to work, okay? Maybe let's try something like that, okay? So that's your first number. Second number is your mental intellectual number. Folks, you can sit on all the books that you want. You can be on the couch and be a couch potato, but you are not going to absorb wisdom and knowledge by doing that. You have to be an active participant in your knowledge and wisdom. And that means that you have to take, as my good friend Richard Walsh will say, you know what? You got to take action. I don't have a problem with you listening to a book. What I tell my coaching clients is this: if you're going to listen to a book, write 2 things down that you heard in the book and take action on it. What are you going to do to take action on it? If you read a book, which I highly recommend, like this one, right? What are you going to take action on, right? Because we read a lot, but oftentimes we don't take action on it. If you want to grow in your intellectual and mental growth, it requires action, not just learning. Okay? So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you say you're doing your intellectual and mental growth? Okay, there's your second number. Third number is the emotional number. Look, folks, there's a lot to be said about emotions. I'm going to make it really, really simple on you. It's 2 parts. One is, how well are you able to control your emotions under stress and pressure? It's the first. And then the second is, how well are you able to tap into and understand the emotions of other people? Sometimes we call that empathy, right? But the fact of the matter is, you have to have the emotional vocabulary to tap into others so that you can relate. Because if somebody's ever tapped into you emotionally, it'll stop you in your tracks. I promise you, it will. So, and sometimes, and Richard's got a great story with his 7-year-old in this book, how he pulled out 2 chairs and made Richard sit down and say, "So Dad, how's it going?" "Oh, that'll break you down. I promise you it will. I promise it'll break you down. I don't care how big, strong, tough you are, boys. It'll break you down." Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing emotionally? All right. And then the 4th number is a spiritual number. I know that we can connect physically, mentally, and emotionally, but if you remove all that, we actually connect spiritually. There is an internal spirit that we have. In fact, I heard it once said that we're not physical beings, trying to find a spiritual world. We're actually spiritual beings living in a physical world. And I think that's probably more true because we live by faith. The fact of the matter is, you drank your cup of coffee this morning and you believed it wasn't poisonous. You pushed your button on your car believing it was going to start. You saw the walk sign on the walkway that said walk, and you walked believing the cars weren't going to hit you. You've made plans for the future, believing that they're going to happen even though they have not happened yet. We live by faith every day. We trust in the unknown, right? That's part of how we live. And we connect on a much deeper level than just physically, mentally, and emotionally, and that's spiritual. But then what brings you back to a place of centeredness in the midst of your chaos? Is it God? Is it nature? Is it meditation? Is it something else? And then the big question is it working for you? And if it's not, what are you going to have to do to change it? Those 4 areas are like the air in the tires of your car. If one tire is too low, what happens? Well, it makes the car really difficult to drive. But if all 4 tires are too low, what happens? Well, what happens is you can't drive the car and you'll eventually ruin it. And speaking of someone who's got his air, all tires and his air in the tires all at the right height, his name is Richard Walsh. After 20 years in business and at the top of his game, in 08 and 09, he hit and he lost everything, including his family's home. And at the same time, he had a wife, 6 children under the age of 4, and as a Marine, champion boxer, black belt, he was no fan of losing. So he had to do the hard work of determining why he failed. He said, "I connected all the dots," and there was a lot of them, and started to rebuild and regain success. And at the same time, other entrepreneurs were watching and asking me, "How did you do that?" Next thing you know, he's helping them create their business to not only withstand hardship, but begin to thrive and create a life with balance in the 5 most important areas of life: faith, family, finances, fitness, and friendships. His best-selling book, Escape the Owner Prison. The Owner Prison is where he details his story and how entrepreneurs can escape the prison that they've created for themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, and welcome the first time, I'm pretty sure not the last time, Richard Walsh. Richard, welcome to A New Direction.
Thank you, Jay. Great to be here, man. This is exciting. You got me all keyed up. That's an awesome intro. That whole thing, man. I'm doing the score in my head, going, okay, I'm pretty good there. Yeah, I suck there. I'm pretty good there. I like that. That's good. Gives me something to do.
Well, you know as well as I do, because you were in the core. When you were in every day, all 4 of those areas were being tested because you were developing your perseverance muscle, right?
Exactly.
Right. I mean, that's all part of it. So this book, Escape the Owner Prison, a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed reading it. Thank you for writing it. It was absolutely fantastic. I want to talk to you about something that you said in the introduction. You said this book will teach you the mindset for running and scaling your business that can keep you focused on your goals and make them a reality. Talk to us about the importance of mindset when it comes from escaping our own prisons that we've created.
So when we talk mindset, we do things every day, right, Jay? We do things, and some we do them in a ritualistic way. I get up at the same time every day. I read my Bible. I drink my 2 cups of mushroom coffee. I go to the gym at 5:30, right? I do all that every day. It's ritual, right? So it's a mindset to complete my ritual because we are defined by our rituals. But at the same time, the rest of my day, what's my mindset? What am I out to do? Right? So if you're doing the same thing and I'll say this really quickly, how people get in, I'll tell you quickly how they get in that own a prison. You start a business, you get going, you're working really hard, you're a great craftsman or whatever you were, and you're working because that's what you have to do. I haven't found a way around that. Working really hard the first couple of years, right? But now you're at year 10 and you've repeated the first 2 years 5 times because you haven't changed your mindset. You haven't changed what you actually need to do to change your position. You're going and you're making money, but there's no freedom. You know, all that freedom we got in the business for, it's not there. So the mindset is a willingness to seek out and find how to change. Okay. It's not doing the same thing. You can't continue to do the same thing, right?
Right. Okay. So we got a mindset that we've got to walk into this with, because you have these 3 levels. You have the startup entrepreneur, which is up to $1 million of revenue. And I know there's a lot of people who are startups. They're going, yeah, I'm looking for that first million. And then we'll get to level 2 is up from 1 million to 5. And then level 3 is 5 to 10. Chapter 1 is entitled Don't Lose Before You Begin. And you give us some interesting statistics here. You said starting a business is easy, but thriving is hard. And that's why 20% of businesses fail in the first couple of years. Over 50% of new businesses fail in the first 5 years. 66% fail in 10 years. And you said, the problem is they don't have a concrete plan for achieving that vision. Talk to us about, what do you mean we don't have a concrete plan for achieving the vision?
So this is how it works. We call it strategic vision. Okay. And it goes back to the great Stephen Covey. You start with the end in mind. Okay. So what we never do, because we're excited, and that's a big benefit. I call it ignorance on fire. Okay. That's what you want to be when you start a business. Running with your head just on fire, running and doing whatever you can. You work all the hours, right? Bouncing off things and burning stuff down and losing money and losing job, gaining money and doing that whole fun part of the deal, right? But the problem is we don't really know where we're going, and that's why we're on fire, running in all different directions. So if I'm in New York, I want to go to California in my car, all I know is to go west. Okay. Now, the good news is I'm probably going to see the entire country. Okay. Because I'm driving all over the place. But I'll probably also stop at the Gulf of Mexico and think I'm at the Pacific Ocean. Okay. Because I don't know. I don't know the difference. I don't know where it's at. Right. So we need to start with what I call our exit strategy. You need to start with your exit first, which is counterintuitive to everybody starting a business or in their first couple of years, right?
Yeah.
But if you can do that, and this is what I learned because I didn't have that, one of the many larger holes that caused my collapse in 08, 09. If you do start that way, what you determine is a few things, Jay. First, it's how much is enough, right? Who actually picks a number? I want to make as much as I can. Well, that's not even a number. Okay, how much? As much as I can. That's not even a number. Okay, so is that $1 trillion? Do you want to do $1 trillion? Do you want to do 10 million? Do you want to do 100 million? Do you want to do what do you pick a real number, right? And there's more to it than just picking a number out of the air, but have a number, and then with that, have a time frame. Is it 10 years? Is it 5 years? Is it 20 years? Am I going to leave it to my kids? You probably don't want to do that because they don't want to do what you do most of the time. Don't make them. Okay. But what is that? Now, when I have those few things, and what do I want to exit with? Okay. I want to sell my business for how much? Oh, I'd like to have a $10 million purchase. Okay, great. Everyone got to have a goal. But now you start to reverse engineer this and go, okay, so here I'm in day 1. What does this look like? If I have to get there in 10 years, what does it look like? So what that does say, it shows you, well, when do you hire the first person? This is key. Like, when do you start bringing people on? At what number? At what point of the business? What do I have to do so I can get that person to start alleviating one of the 9 hats that I have to wear, right? The second thing is, okay, which way am I going to go to get this? What does that look like? What does gaining market share actually look like in my business? Now, I'm increasing my salary as I go because I'm making money. which I also tell people is the easiest thing to do in business, is make money. And you, speaking of mindset, understand that the easiest thing for you to do is make money. Everything else is hard. Okay. So with that in mind, we're going, okay, so I'm making money. Let's say I'm starting to do really well. I'm year 5. I'm bringing in 7 figures personally a year. Okay, great. Now I got 5 years. I'm going to be at the end. I'm going to sell for 10 million. But after I sell, I lose $1 million a year because I'm making $1 million a year. So what do? Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll use a large portion of that $1 million a year because I certainly don't need to live on $1 million a year. Okay. And I'm going to acquire assets that are going to generate income. So there's my passive income. So my goal is to get $83,000 a month coming in by the time I get to year 10, so that when I do get my purchase price, someone gives it to me, I walk out the door, I didn't lose $1 million a year. I have that coming in passively, right? Or if I decide to keep the business, I can not take that salary, roll it back into the business to build it even more, make it more profitable, right? A lot of good options. That's exit strategy. That's laying out a plan so you don't get trapped because you're planning the exit, but also to build a business that can exit that someone will pay $10 million for. It's going to be fully systemized. It's going to run itself. It's not going to need you. Because here's what a new owner wants. Hello, Richard. Here's your 10 million. Shake your hand. Okay. Richard's out the door. John, the new purchaser, is in, and nobody knows the business sold because it runs itself. Now they can tweak it and do whatever they want with it. I'm out the door with my 10 million. But having that exit strategy causes you to build a business that way, which in the big picture prevents you from being trapped in the owner prison.
You have a little statement in here shortly after this that says, a dream written down. I love this, by the way. I've got it highlighted in green. A dream written down is a goal broken down is a plan acted on is success.
Correct.
And I thought that you have this in basically 3 steps. You said step 1 is figuring out what you want. Step 2 is creating the plan on how to achieve that in specific detail. And step 3, take action on that plan, making it work for you. I think the step 1 is the hard part that we overlook. Is I'm not sure how clear it is we know what we want. Is that, do you find that to be true? Yeah,
I think so. People come with me with ideas. Hey, I have an idea for a business. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
But what they don't know is I'm uncoiling the fire hose.
Right.
And I'm going to give them so much in like 5 minutes, they're going to freak out. But right. They have the idea, but they don't truly know. They have this thing that they want to make this with, right? I want to make money. I want freedom. I want to do it. Also, they want all this, but you're right. It's just an idea.
Right.
They don't have a process to work through it to know if it's even viable.
Right.
Yet, well, where do you really want to go with this?
Right.
When you say, what do you want to do? Like, I became great at what I did, building water features, internationally recognized steel sculptor, right? World-class exhibits. Like, why?
Right.
Why was I doing that? And I'll tell you why I was doing it. To feed my own ego. Okay, that's the only reason I was doing it, because I didn't care about money. I mean, I like money. I don't have a problem with money. I made lots of it, but it never drove me. It was the next thing I was making. It was the next person, and I'm just being totally honest.
Yeah.
I wanted another person to tell me how great I am.
Right.
How amazing this is. No one can. I mean, it was this thing that became just, I need more praise.
You needed the words of affirmation.
Yeah. That's what I needed. I just wanted, yeah.
What was your
I didn't care, like, that is words of praise. So,
yeah.
It's
the
praise.
words of affirmation and praise, right?
Words of affirmation. Yep.
Yeah. That's your love language, right? Yeah. I mean,
so I didn't know at the time.
Right. Right. Because we would think it's money, which is more gifts, but it wasn't. It had nothing to do with the gifts. It had everything to do with the words of affirmation. Right. That's cool. His name is Richard Walsh. The book is entitled Escape the Owner Prison. The Contractor's New Way to Scale, Regain Control, and Fast Track Growth While Loving Life. Available on Amazon. You're going to love the book. I promise you will. It's a quick read. Enjoy it. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, Epic Physical Therapy, whether you're recovering from an injury, surgery, suffering everyday aches and pains, having difficulty performing activities of daily living. Maybe you're a professional athlete, you just want to move and feel better. Look, the elite team at Epic Physical Therapy will create a customized treatment program just for you. So when you want your epic relief, epic recovery, epic results, do not look any further. Go to epicpt.com. It's EPICPT.com. And Linda Craft Team Realtors, for more than 39 years, they have been helping people transition in life all over the world. And you go, whoa. This real estate company, what do you mean transition in life? Well, think about it. Every place you've ever lived has been a life's transition, has it not? Sure, it has. Well, they know how to take the stress, right, and out of that part of that transition in life. So whether you're selling your home or buying your home, and you want to take the stress out of that transition, look to the leaders for 39 years. It's Linda Craft Team Realtors. You can find them at lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with Richard Walsh, his book, best-selling book, Escape the Owner Prison is the name of the book. And we're just getting started here. I thought it was interesting in this chapter 1, you had a subtitle here called Employees, Your Weakest Link or Your Greatest Asset. Oh, could that not be more true? So talk to us about our employees and how we need to start. What's the mindset we have to have around them?
Yeah, it's and I've changed over time. Okay. I wrote a blog post once, Jay, called Society's Weak Link People. Okay. So it's just
right.
I used to have the attitude, you come out of the core and you get things done, right?
Right.
Do what you're told, you get things done, you delegate, you do all that. So that kind of sticks with you. Pretty hardcore in work. I had guys who worked. We got things done, and I'm not big on excuses. We get things done, but I learned over time, dealing with people is an art in itself. But what I really learned was, it wasn't necessarily me that's the problem. It's what I was putting them into, what I was bringing them into, namely my business. Okay, and what I have found over all these years of helping other businesses and everything else, the biggest issue they have with hiring talent, because we all want A players, right?
Sure.
No one wants a C player. We kind of don't even want B players. We want the best.
Right.
Well, you can find the best, but how are you going to first get the best, and next, how are you going to keep them? What keeps the best players at your business? Is it your culture? Is it, that can be part of it, but what it really is people get these great, whether they're sales or whatever they do, an office manager, I don't care what it is. They bring them in, and again, this is the entrepreneurial experience. You're a few years in your business now, and you're bringing in this person who's, they're unbelievable. They've done this, and they can do all this. They got all these skills. You bring them in and you put them in the position that is not built out. You literally, as an entrepreneur, think they're going to build and systemize this position for you because they're so good at it. They'll make it great. I don't have to, right? It's almost like I feel like I've delegated it. So you bring the person in, they drop in this position, they start doing what they do, yet they have no resources. They have no structure. They have no accountability. They have nothing, no expectations. Just go sell a lot or go make this work smooth, right? That literally is what you're giving them because you think they are like you, that we get things done. We figure out problems. We move things ahead. We do whatever it takes. But I'm here to tell you, nobody who's going to come work for you wants to do that, nor will they do that. Okay? Because if they did, what would they really be doing? What you're doing. They'll help a business, right? So the key to success on getting the right people and keeping the right people is to build out their lanes. So you have a job position, okay? That's who they are, the name, the title, the overall big picture, what they do. Then you have a column of job functions. These are exactly what they do. There might be 7, there might be 17, there might be 37 job functions, right? Doesn't mean they do them every day. There might be one Wednesday a month for 10 minutes. They do this, right? But it's all laid out. You have their expectations. You have the accountability. The next column is how to do all those things, right? So here's how you do it. Then there's a third column, Jay, and that's the training of how you do it. It's a very important part, right? How is one thing. I can read a manual. I can read a book. It can tell me how, but I guarantee if I go out and do it, I'm going to still have problems. So you need the training of the how. Now you build that, they come in, they're trained, they're up to speed in 5 to 7 days. They understand what they're doing. They know exactly their boundaries. They know where to operate. They can excel at their gifting, which is what you hired them for.
Right.
They can become a true asset to your company. Now they can run with the ball all the way to the goalpost. Okay, there's nothing stopping them. They understand their authority. They understand their place. They understand the mission, the vision of the company. That's when they become an asset. Okay, that's when your employee, your new A-player hire, becomes free. That's when they're free. The first time with nothing, that's a liability, a ticking time bomb, whatever you want to call it. Okay, when it's just a hot mess and you drop them into it, how can you possibly have an expectation of any kind of success with that person putting them in that situation?
You can't. It's not possible. We it's so interesting. I have a client, coaching client, that we're dealing with this very issue because there was no, what do they do, how do they do it, and how were they trained to do it? And the person is frustrated with the person they hired. But when you take a look at it, it's like, well, actually, you should be frustrated with yourself because you threw them in a position with expectations, but there's nothing in clarity in terms of what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to carry it out, and how were they trained to do it. And none of that happened, right? So of course, everybody's frustrated, including the employee, right? And it's not that the employee is a liability or an asset at this point. They're just existing, right? Because they don't have any clarity. And employees want clarity. I know that we think that freedom has nothing to do with clarity, but clarity has everything to do with freedom, because then I know, well, this is not in my lane, so I'm free to not be in it, right?
Exactly. If I see John struggling over there, do I even have the authority or permission to go help John?
Right.
Or do I just stay here? Like that guy needs to be grateful that guy hasn't quit yet. Okay, which means he still has a chance to save it. But I would never stay somewhere like that. I'd give him two options. Either I can run the business or I'm leaving.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure I'd be leaving. Okay, because someone's going to give me their business. But that's worth it. And it's such a, see, these are the basics, right? These are things that once you hear them, it makes total sense, right? Sure. But I took 20 years and I didn't figure that out because I'm a Marine. I'm a little thick upstairs. So I'm not big on help. I don't need that. I'm just going to figure it out, right? Twice as long, twice as hard. But guess who got there? I did, Well, that's why I couldn't have a child until I was 39. I was too busy doing things the hard way,
That's funny. The next thing you have, and this one seems to be something we talk about quite a bit. It's called Automate Now, and this is about putting systems and processes in place. And we hear a lot about putting systems and processes in place. Sadly, what I think the problem is that I think we're pretty good at this to an extent, but we neglect the other things, that we just talked about, for instance, employee training and descriptions. Talk to us about automating now, and how important that is to freeing us from our prison.
Yeah, so there's actually two more that go with that. Okay. Automate, delegate, eliminate.
Okay.
Automate, delegate, eliminate. Okay. Put those three together because that's part of systemization, right? Mm-hmm. So systemization, so two things in that. First, talk to any business owner and ask them, do they think their business should be systemized? And you'll get a resounding yes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Ask them if they want to do it themselves. You'll get a resounding no. Okay. Just tell me how much it costs. Whatever it is worth it. You do it. Okay. They're not going to systemize their own business. I'm at 100%. Okay. Of the no. None of them are going to do it. They know they want it. They don't have the bandwidth. We're wearing all the other hats still, everything else, but they can't do it. So there's kind of a rock and a hard place. If I'm coming in as a coach and I'm telling them, you need to systemize. Okay. Like, how people get stuck on these little words and they sound so cool. Then they walk away. Like when they tell you work-life balance and they walk away and don't tell you how to do it. And you're going, well, I don't get it. I mean, it sounds cool. I don't know how to do it. Right. So this systemization is very much like that. So Automate, delegate, eliminate. Automate means, yes, automate whatever you can. And in today's age, ton of ability to do that. Virtual assistants, CRMs, all kinds of software, call services, whatever you want to do. That's all part of automation, right? Taking it out of your hands, letting someone else handle it. So do whatever you can on that. Delegation, we just talked about it. If you're going to delegate something to someone, they don't have a how, a what, all that. If they don't have that, how can they? You're abdicating, right? Go do this, and when they fail, you get mad at them. Well, you just told me to do it. You didn't tell me how. You didn't tell me what kind of resources I have. You didn't set a goal. There's not a time frame on this. You didn't give me anything to work with. You just told me to do it. Again, you're thinking they're like you, and they'll just figure it out. Again, that's entrepreneurial mistake number one. Don't think people think like you. We are a minority beyond a minority. We are a tiny little group of people who think differently. We have a different drive, everything else. And the average person, 98% of the people, 97% of the people will not think like us. So you can't have that expectation. That's why it's your fault, right? So we got to delegate, got to build it out for them, got to give them the resources, give them a time frame, tell them who to report to if they do get hung up. You're not coming to my office till you tell me you've achieved the goal, right? You've got plenty of other things to do. I've laid it out for you. Now go get them. And the other thing I do on that too, let's say we're going to have them systemize their position, right? So they're going to do screen recordings of how they pay an invoice or do this or that. And you show them and you tell them and you give them resources and say, okay, in 90 days, I want your position systemized. I'm air quoting, right? Okay, but now you're going to show them what that looks like. You need to record everything you do on screen, right on this, what this looks like. You're going to document this. You're going to achieve this. But what I tell people, here's the second problem you make as an entrepreneur. Let's say you're paying them $60,000 a year for that position. Do you think they should do all that? And that's included in the $60,000 a year. They're going to systemize their entire job functions, the entire position. And you think they should do that for their normal salary? Like to me, I'd say no. Okay. Right. And why? Because they weren't hired to systemize your business.
Great point.
But if you can equip them to do it, guess what you put at the end? That's worth a lot of money to me. They are going to get one incredible bonus when they make that. Now, not only do they get a bonus, they have complete buy-in. They built this system. They made their job better. Now, when they go on vacation, someone else can slide right in and do their job. Excuse me. They don't come back to a hot mess after being off for 2 weeks, right? They just slide, one's out, you're in. Everything's good, right? And you as the owner, you don't worry about that position anymore. That is off your plate completely. That's systemization. Now do it with the next one and the next one. And you can do one system at a time. And the great thing we do, Jay, at Sharpen the Spear is we actually go in and work with the team. That's why the owner doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have the time, or she have the time to build out the framework. We build out the framework, we assist them, boom, we get them to the goal. And that's a beautiful thing. One at a time, chip away in a year, everything is dialed in. So you've got to have that structure and that reward system. You can't just pile more on their plate. They're going to fail. You're setting them up for failure.
In chapter 2, which is entitled Cleared for Takeoff, Smooth and Fast Startup, and we're talking about going from $0 to $1 million a year in revenue. You make you say, I want to emphasize a simple principle here. It's not what you make, it's what you keep, which is really, really important for people to hold on. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And you talk about fuel for your economic engine, and talk about, gathering prospects, customers, clients, whatever we're going to call them, because that's really the fuel for the engine. Talk about what that's going to require.
Yeah, I'll give you one word: value. It's going to require you delivering high value, delivering more value than what you're being paid for. We talked about mindset in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's a mindset you have to have in everything you do. If I'm raking the neighbor's leaves, no landscaper is going to do it better than me, because I've chosen to do it for my neighbor. There won't be a leaf that's missed. Right. I'll blow them bushes. I'll get that. I'll make sure the mulch back in. I'll deliver more value. I don't care if they're paying me or not. Whatever I'm doing is more value than I'm being paid for, right? That's the first thing on that. Your economic engine is an incredible piece of machinery. Okay. You can make it go fast. You can make it go slow. You can idle it. And that's all up to you. And a lot of your actions will determine what that engine's actually going to do. Right. So we want to build fuel for that. How do we do that? Right.
Mm-hmm. So you talk about there's fuel in the follow-up. And you gave some great statistics here. I just want to share them with listeners and viewers. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. 25% of all salespeople make a second contact and stop. 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and then stop. Only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. 2% of sales are made in the first contact. 3% of sales are made in the second contact. 5% of sales are made in the third contact. 10% of sales are made in the fourth contact. 80% of sales are made between the 5th and 12th contract. And on the average, it takes 7 calls for someone to speak with you. And yet we stink at follow-up. Why?
It's a world of quitters. It's a world of quitters. That's why, Jay, they're all a bunch of quitters.
We're a bunch of quitters. It does come down to that almost, doesn't it? When you read these statistics, right? We don't do a very good job at follow through and follow up. And as a psychological professional, I've always said, is it because there's only so much rejection that we can handle? Is it because we're just so poor at delayed gratification that we don't follow through? Is it purely mindset? Is it tenacity and perseverance? Is it a human weakness because I see it so consistently? Is it a combination of all of the above? Because it is a problem in every industry. I'm sure you run across this too in your with your clients and coaching clients, is that you've got the sales manager saying to you, I can't get my people to make more than 1 call. How do you guys handle it?
Well, I tell them, well, here, let me fix it. You're fired.
Oh, that's so funny.
So here's what you do, right? Let's go back to the system. You haven't built a system. You haven't built a system for follow-up. So here, I'll give you an example of what I did with my roofing contracting business. So I'm buying leads, and you'll get different schools that say, oh, paid leads are the worst. Paid leads are the best. Everyone's got their school of thought. Who do you think thinks they're the best? The ones that have them make money for them, right? They're the ones that love them. And guess how many calls they make? A lot. Okay. Yeah. So I started doing that. I'm getting paid leads. I'm getting 3 to 5 calls a day. Leads, right? I follow up. No one ever picks up the first time. It's a unicorn when someone, and they just placed the lead. They just placed interest. So in theory, they asked for help like 10 seconds ago, and I call and they don't pick up. Okay. It's a given. So I call again and again, 3, 4, 5. I'm on 7. Someone's taking 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I finally get them, right? But guess who gets the job? Me, right? I figure out like, okay, now it's averaging about 7 calls. Okay, so I got to do 7 calls. Well, here's the problem though, Jay, right? Let's do some quick numbers. All right, so I got to call them 7 times. They get 3 to 5 calls a day, 7 days a week. See, that's 35. That's 35. Now I got to call them 7 times. So it's 35 times 7 each week times that. Now the next month comes. Every day I'm at thousands of calls. You get to the point where there's thousands of follow. Are you going to do that? Right. Is your salesman going to do thousands of follow-up calls? No. Absolutely not. And that's number one reason why they don't make more than 3 calls. It's a time thing for one. There's a lot more reasons than just that. But so I say, well, I got a problem. Okay, I need to convert these leads, but I can't be calling people. I'm running a business, right? So I like, oh, wait, virtual assistants. I can get someone who does these calls. And they have a bank of people that, because all I'm trying to do is get an appointment set, right? All I want is an appointment set. It's not like I'm trying to close a deal on the phone for my business, right? So I automate that, have them call. Oh, get it. Okay, great. Oh, Richard can be out on this time. They have my schedule, they have the address, the location. If I have multiple salesmen, they have their zones, and they assign them to them. Pretty soon that's, oh, wow, click, click. I was spending $2,200 a month in paid leads, okay, just coming in. I turned that into 127,000 in 1 month. Like, I will rinse and repeat that all day long. Okay, right. If I can spend 2,100 and do 127,000, right, that's a good conversion, right? Because I automated.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I started doing. Like, okay, have them do that. And then you continue to automate the process. Now, phase 2 on people just calling, let's say they don't get that many leads in a day. They in their mind, so it's a mindset thing, they come up with like 37 reasons why the people don't want to talk to them. Oh, I'm bothering them. Oh, I think 10 other people have called them. Oh, they think I hate them. Oh, I'm obnoxious. Oh, and all of it, has nothing to do with you actually. People have lives, Right. They have an idea they want a patio, or maybe they need a new roof. Whereas I tell people, no one needs a roof today. Okay, I'm not going out for emergency roof placement. Okay, not going to happen, right? So you have to understand that they have a life. There's a million other distractions in their life. So it's going to take time. But when you do connect and they do answer, do the set the appointment, you are the last man standing. You're the last one to be there. You got the job.
That's
so the perseverance is where it's at. Yeah.
I love that. His name is Richard Walsh. The book, Escape the Owner of Prison, The Contractor's New Way to Scale, Regain Control, and Fast Track Growth While Loving Life. You're listening to him here on A New Direction. Hey, folks, Epic Physical Therapy. Listen, they offer the most advanced top-of-the-line equipment. You've heard me talk about it, the Ultra G anti-gravity treadmill, Normatec compression sleeves, the Game Ready. That's just a few. They are certified in the most comprehensive cutting-edge treatments: blood flow restriction therapy, dry needling, cupping. That's just a few. Listen, when you're ready for your epic relief, epic recovery, epic results, don't look any further. Go to epicpt.com. It's EPICPT.com. And Linda Craft Team Realtors. Let me just make a suggestion to you. If you want to see one of the most comprehensive real estate sites on the planet, you want to go to lindacraft.com. It's LINDACRAFT.com. The reason why is it is literally the one-stop shop for everything. You want to see listings? They've got it. You want to see the recommended vendors of people that they've used, that they recommend for all sorts of things for around your home or whatever it may be, they've got it. You want to join the team, they've got it. It is the most comprehensive real estate website that I've ever seen, and I think you will agree with me. Check it out. It's lindacraft.com, LINDACRAFT.com. And we're back here on A New Direction with my friend Richard Walsh. Escape the Owner Prison is the best-selling book that he has written. Richard, as we go into the last segment, one of the things that you say is when it comes to turning appointments into sales, and I love this, and I don't know why it's not in my memory bank somewhere, but it should have been, and that is features tell and benefits sell. Joe, go run with that for a while.
Yeah. The reality is people don't care about, like, yes, I have a furnace. I'm going to sell you a really great furnace. Yes, it's 900,000 BTUs and it's this and has this element and automated this, that no one, how warm am I going to be in the winter when it's 35 below zero? Can I sit around living with my family without 3 sweaters and shoe booties on? You know what I mean? Like, that's a benefit, right? I can enjoy the comfort of my home. I can have my family, I can have people over. We can enjoy this. Or in the summer, when it's 115 out, how comfortable I am in the home, right? That's the benefits, right? Effortless, does it all by itself, automate all that stuff. So we always want to sell benefits. How is it going to affect someone's life? Not it's got the most horsepower. That's all cool stuff for the geeks. Okay, people want to geek out. That one engineer who's putting a new furnace in his house, and you're going to spend the whole conversation talking about the features and the entire, the research and cubic feet of space heated and whatever. And he's going to be
British thermal units.
That's it. That's
right.
it. All of that, and he's the only guy who cares. And meanwhile, you still probably won't sell him because he won't be able to make a decision because he doesn't have enough information, right? So we want to talk about benefits whenever we're talking about how is it going to benefit someone's life? How does it make their life better? So when we're delivering value, Value is attached to benefits, not features. Right? Think about that. Like you may think, well, I've got 500 horsepower and you got 450 on your car. Well, okay, I'm still going to get to the store and so are you. And we're both going to get home. Okay, it's going to be quick, easy. It's going to start when I turn the key. It's going to shut off when I turn it off. It's going to stop when I hit the brakes. It's going to accelerate. It's going to slow down. And it gets so much gas miles and big deal. Okay, can I take all 8 of my kids to their soccer game? Yes, okay, great. That's the benefit, right? I can now put more people in my car and I can go where I want when I want. Okay, that's a benefit. I have freedom. I can drive in luxury, air-conditioned leather, air-conditioned seats, all that. It's a benefit because I can feel great when I get to where I want to go. I can get there refreshed, feeling awesome, get out, even though I just spent 3 hours on the road, right? Benefits. How does it make my life better? Right. When you focus on that with whatever you're selling, the person who's buying it, not the thing you're selling them. Focus on the person. That's where benefits. People will listen to benefits. They're not moved by features. That's what I mean by that. Yeah. Understand what anything you're selling. I don't care if it's gum, a piece of gum, or the latest, Theragun massage thing. No one cares. It goes in and out and thumps my shoulder. Okay, but now I don't have pain in my neck. Now I can walk this way, right? I can see. I can pick up my kid and not strain a muscle because I'm able to use this, right? Those are the benefits we're talking about. When you sell benefits, you sell.
Yeah, I love that. I think I've heard it another way, right? Too often people sell the sizzle, not the steak, right? And I've heard it put that way too. But I really love the way you put that. In chapter 3, which is entitled "Build Value, Build Profit," there's 2 things that in here that really struck me. One is selling low will keep you broke, busted, and bummed out, and being paid what you're worth and being paid first. Talk about those 2 issues. Selling low will keep you broke, busted, and bummed out.
Yeah. So when you're bidding on price, okay, that's what they call a race to the bottom. Okay. You can compete with Walmart, be my guest. Right. Okay. You have to be the lowest every single day. Right. That's what you have to be. Now, if you have to keep lowering your prices, speaking of the economic engine, you're going to run out of gas. You're not going to be fueling your economic engine. Right. Okay. Because you're going to be doing stuff for too low, trying to just get work for the guys. So many guys get stuck in that. Well, at least my guys are working. Okay. And you are, okay, right. Let's move to the next thing. So you've got being paid first and being paid what you're worth. Okay. And I will put Jay pretty much across the board. I'd say you and me are both guilty of this. None of us have a high enough self-worth.
Totally agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like, look at my bio. Wow. I've done some amazing stuff. My dad would comment when I'm building these amazing water features, I'm getting a lot of money because people pay you that much.
Right. Yeah, no, I know. I get it.
And I go, Dad, they can't do it.
Right.
Now they could stroke a check for every piece of equipment I have, buy my own, but they won't know how to do it. They can't use it. Right. I said, so there's a thing there, right? And still not one over 1,000 water features I built. Not one customer ever said they overpaid. They all said, dude, you do not charge enough. Right. And I charged a lot.
Right.
I charged a lot. Right. Okay. So you've got to first understand your value. And I'll tell you, the way you're going to find out is to ask someone else. I had an office manager who had to tell me what I was worth. Wow. On one particular commission, she made me an additional $400,000 because she understood my worth better than I did.
Wow.
You talk about an asset as an employee.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's a good one.
That's
a good one.
So there's a little job. Sure, there's a little job security after that moment too. There.
That's right. Here's $50 for a bonus. I'm kidding. You're amazing. Yeah. But okay, so there's what you're worth. But now let's talk about getting paid first. This is another problem with people in the beginning and 5-10 years. They're not paid first. Their biggest struggle, most businesses' biggest struggle, is making payroll. Because it's every week or every 2 weeks. It's always going to be there. You got to pay your people, right? That's a priority. So you will always sacrifice your money for their money. right? You'll give you to them to keep them going, to keep working, right? And that's another hamster wheel you get stuck on. You might get paid. You might take a bigger payout one time. Well, I'll take 3,000 and go buy the thing I need, or to catch up on this or catch up on that. You'll be in that horrible cycle because you're not understanding your worth. And here's why you can't pay yourself first, because you don't understand your worth. You're not charging what you should be charging. One of the biggest mistakes is to charge what everyone else is charging. Oh, that's what they charge. So what? What are they bringing to the table? What are they delivering to the customer? If they do what you do, how are they doing that? Right. Find a way to, you could deliver the value, deliver the product, deliver the service in such a unique way, you can get double without blinking an eye. But you have to get paid for what you do, and it has to be paid well. So you can be paid first, right? Goes to the exit strategy. Understand where this is, where that first person comes in. You're the first person. You're getting paid. When you know that, you know, oh, I can pay them now, but not out of my paycheck. I can create a new paycheck because this is how I designed the business to grow, right? But too many owners sacrificed. They're in for the long. I'm in for the long haul. Oh, I'm going to get paid at the end. You're not. You're going to live in poverty. You're going to have that job where the average worker makes $24 an hour. You're making 26, and think you're killing it. Okay, you're running the business. So it's just you gotta. That's another mindset thing. You got to change. You got to understand your value, what you're bringing to the marketplace, and how you bring it there.
We have just a couple minutes left, but I do not want to neglect something that you said in chapter 5, and which is entitled People Power. And you talk about avoiding the pitfalls that will come inevitably with business ownership. And you said you found that the main way to avoid those pitfalls is to create margin. And I don't know that enough business owners do create margin. Will you talk about that for just a couple minutes on the power of margin and what you discovered there?
Yeah. So when people hear margin, Jay, they think money, right?
Right.
I make a bigger margin on my money. I make great margin. Okay. That's not what we're talking about. That's a good thing. But we're talking about margin in your daily life, right? When do you get time for you and your family? When do you get time away from the business? That's when you create margin. How do I hire the right people? Again, like we talked about, with job function, with the house, with the trade, that can function without me, that can run the business. That's how I buy my time back, right? Because remember, there's two things. There's money and there's time. Money is replenishable. You can always make more money, right? Easiest thing to do in business. Time, it's your son's first soccer game. You can't make it because you're working. I'm air quoting, right? He scores his first goal ever. Turns, looks in the stands, and you're not there. And you'll never regain that. That's gone forever. You're not going to make another goal and be the first goal. You're gone for that because you didn't create any margin in your life at all for anything else. You're all business first. This is what matters, my success, my ego, right? All of that. That's why you got to create margin. And sometimes that may become by simply over hiring. I don't mean crazy, but one person who can then alleviate that. Even if it's a floater, they move from position to position, but they're giving you that time. You start to design it that way so you have specific times you operate in. You've got to prioritize that margin. If you're healthy, if you've got time with your family, if you're getting to the gym, if you're able to eat right, not getting 3 meals from a window, right? Like I did for a while because it was so stressful, right? You're not a 400-pound land tuna now because you can't, you've just been eating everything. You're stressed out and stuff. So we don't want that, right? But you have to create the margin to be able to do that. Right. So again, you have to have that intent from the beginning. There's one thing you had mentioned in the beginning I thought was really good, and I want to just add to one of my favorite sayings. It's about revenue and what you keep and everything else, right? Great saying. It's called gross revenue feeds the ego. Profit feeds the family. Like just that is, I learned that from a mentor 10, 12 years ago. I'm like, that is the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it is.
Because so many people are driven by gross revenue and they're not bringing anything near what they come home. They're not being paid first. They don't have margin in their life. They don't have any of that. And that's all that being out of balance. And there's so much we could talk about on that, but I'll leave it there.
I think, well, we're just gonna have to bring it back now. I mean, now,
Yes.
if you like doing the show enough, we'll bring it back and we'll have you come back on and we'll do more of this if you want to do that at some point in time.
We got like a half a book to get through still. We got lots to do.
We do. Tell people how they can get a hold of you, Richard.
SharpenTheSpearCoaching.com. It's the best way to get a hold of me.
All right. That's awesome. Sharpen the Spear. Coaching.com. Okay. I'm going to put that in the notes that go with the show, ladies and gentlemen, which will be up this evening, which is 7/17. So it'll be up tonight. And so there'll be notes there as well. And I do have your email address. Can I share with them your email address if they got questions for you? Okay, I'll have that there as well. Folks, stay with me, Richard. Folks, it's the show. You know what I say to you every week, right? You are in control of three things in your life: your attitude, your effort, and your resiliency. Fact of the matter is, life is always going to throw something at you, but you know what? You control your attitude. If you want a positive attitude, that's up to you, no matter what happens to you. Your effort is tied to your excellence. So how excellent do you want to choose to be today? We all get punched in the teeth or punched in the gut, but it's up to you to get back up. Right? That's your resiliency. Get back up because you're worth it. You had a lot of choices today. You chose us. Thank you for doing that. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Give us a 5-star positive review wherever you listen to the show. Let DBTV know you love us. And as I say to you all over the world, you know what that is. Ciao, everybody.